At Escape, sustainability is one of the things that we think about quite a bit, and it's a primary filter for our decision making as a company. We understand that sustainability is a journey and it's not something we're ever going to arrive at, and that we need to be making conscious steps, in that direction to become more and more sustainable. There's different lenses and categories to think about sustainability through, and some of the lenses that we use is sustainable manufacturing, sustainable products, and a sustainable building. And I'll just kind of explain a little bit what I mean by that. Is when we think about the manufacturing, that's to bring in the idea of that the economic aspect matters. That if we go out of business or we go bankrupt, well, that wasn't a sustainable business model at all. And so the economic drivers within our business matter, and we can't ignore them. It's really important as far as having margins that can support R&D and having margins that can allow us to hire and retain employees and offer benefits and put jobs into the climbing industry. And that's something that we're really proud of and we want to keep doing. And the economic aspect of that really matters. Also within the manufacturing is we have a goal, and I want to grow the company. We want to grow the company without growing the size of our dumpster. And it's kind of a funny way to think about it, but what it does is it puts a physical restraint on our waste. And so as we scale the company, as we grow and we ship more products, and we produce more holes, and we're cutting more wood, we want to do that in a way that we're not producing more and more waste with that. It's been a really helpful tool for us to attack waste and to reduce it. On the product side, when we think about a sustainable product, there's two things that we have to balance almost equally, and that's the customer needs and then the environmental impact. And how that plays out is we could make the most environmentally friendly product, but if the customer doesn't need or doesn't want it, then they're just going to throw it away, or it's going to sit on our shelf, and then we didn't add any value, and it is actually a detriment. And so we have to create products that solve a real need. And then after that, we have to ask ourselves, all right, what is the life cycle of this product? What materials are we using, and what are the impact of those materials? And then from there, we can start to have a conversation about how do you balance both the customer's need and then the environmental impact of that product that we're producing. We're not blind to the fact that we make plastic climbing holds, and plastic has, quite the burden as far as an environmental impact goes. We're producing a lot of it as a climbing hold industry. And so as we're producing that climbing hold, we're asking ourselves, all right, what is the life cycle of this? Because if we can make it last longer, if this texture isn't wearing out, then we're reducing the need to repurchase and to start that cycle all over again. At the same time, because we are manufacturing things ourselves, we can ask, all right, how do we reduce the amount of plastic we're putting in per hole? Can we make the walls thinner without compromising the strength and reduce the amount of plastic that we're putting into the world? And on top of that, that's reducing it. Can we reduce it? And then can we change the formula? So is there a way that we can, change the chemistry, work with a bio-base, work with, something like a castor oil, which is coming from a renewable resource versus just a straight 100% petroleum chemistry mix in our plastic. And those are things that we've been working on for a couple of years, and we're continuing to partner with a few chemical companies to try to integrate in a bio-base, and there's some real challenges, but we're still right now actively working towards that. And then as a team, we thought about, all right, so with plastic climbing holds, a wood hole is going to have an entirely different carbon footprint than a plastic hold. And so let's create a wood hole offering to give our customers, a different option. So that's just a quick overview, and we tried to do that with each product. And so I kind of pick on climbing holds just to give you, a quick example of how we might work through balancing both the customer's need and then the environmental impact of a product that we launch here at Escape. With this entire manufacturing setup, a hold is produced, it's moved through, and there's another bit of that supply chain after you've actually made your product, because we have to ship that out. And with shipping, one of the cool things is we looked at our cardboard usage, and we have so many boxes coming in that we can reuse. And so you might have seen a keep it going sticker that we slap on the side, and that's really saying, hey, we have a box or some packing material that came into our shop, and we're going to reuse it. We're going to send it back out. We're going to extend the life cycle of this box before it has to get recycled. and give it one more leg in its journey. Any box that is too damaged or we can't send back out, then we'll run it through our cardboard shredding machine, and we turn that cardboard into packing material that's going to go in and protect the holds. And so cardboard is like one of those cool aspects that we can almost be completely renewable in, and we can almost 100% reuse that. Any cardboard that comes in our facility is either going back out as a box, where we don't have to buy a new box, or it's going back out as packing material to you as a customer. The other lens that we want to look through is our building, and understanding that having a sustainable building matters a lot, because our physical space and the environment where we're manufacturing and shipping from is a major contributor to the overall environmental impact of that supply chain, and it's an integral part. Our energy usage, how the building functions, is part of that overall product, and that chain effect when you buy something. And so for us as a company, we wanted to own our building because that allows us to make decisions. Because if we have a landlord and we don't line up, and our goals don't line up, then we're not going to implement some of the things we want to. So when we bought this building, one of the first things that we did is we came in and we swapped out all the high bay lights for LEDs, and we put them on timers. So as you walk around, they're flipping on, and then they're turning off when they're not in use. And that was like one of that low-hanging fruit. It's an instant gain that's going to lower our long-term energy need and usage. The other thing that we did is we brought in some consultants to look at our heat loss and our cooling loss, and evaluating our HVAC system to see if we can put different pumps on the units to increase their energy efficiency and seal up some of the gaps and cracks in this building. This building was built in 1976, and so we have a long ways to go to seal up all the holes and insulate, but we have a plan and we know how to move forward in that respect. One of the things that we're most excited about is on the roof is we have 422 solar panels. It's a 190 kilowatt DC system. And what we did to create that system and to spec that size is we looked at our energy usage for a 12-month period. How much electricity are we using to power all our machines to run this facility? And then we're building out our solar panels that can produce that amount of electricity. And so in a 12-month period, the amount of energy that we need to power escape climbing, our solar panels are powering that much electricity from our roof. And so it's really exciting that we have what I would call like a balanced system, is that our solar panel production matches our consumption from the manufacturing perspective. And super excited about that, and to have that part of our setup. With our building, we've partnered with the local county and the watershed district and evaluated the size rain gardens that we need to capture all that runoff. And so this summer that should be dug and implemented, that from a rainwater, a stormwater runoff, that we should be able to capture all that water, and it's not going to go into the local watershed, into the local streams, and then the lake down the road. Zooming out a little bit, as an owner, I think about how do I steward the resources God gave me? And out of this stewardship flows this idea of sustainability and these efforts. And it's linking the two. How do I steward? Meaning, how do I carefully use our resources in manufacturing and create that in a sustainable way and do that in a sustainable way? How do we steward the products that we're making and do it in a sustainable way? How do we steward our building and do it in a way that's sustainable for the long term? And it's something that we haven't arrived yet. It's a journey, but it's progress that we want to be working towards, and have a plan of like, what are those next steps that we're doing? What are those things that, we have a long ways to go, and so we need to be making that investment or that next step. I also want to be careful not to greenwash, and that's to make claims and say that we are more environmentally friendly, or our products, have this carbon footprint that's not true. And so we want to be careful about how we talk about this, but at the same point, we want to share how we do think about this and the steps that we are taking. And we thank you for joining us in this journey in sustainability.